All right. So in today's class, we're supposed to be going with a new topic, guys. In the last session, we have completed the Linux commands, if I remember correctly. Today, we're supposed to go with a new topic called spoofing of IP and MAC addresses. Okay. So basically, when you talk about spoofing, guys, this is a concept of trying to hide your identity by, again, giving falsified information. So again, we can spoof our IP address or the MAC address as well. Okay. So to define spoofing, spoofing refers to the act of falsifying data or information with the intent to deceive or trick someone. Now, this can take various forms, including IP spoofing, MAC spoofing, email spoofing. But the one common element in all of these techniques is the attacker is trying to make something appear as if something it is not. So on the forefront, your IP might be originally from US or India, but you might show it as if it's originating from a different source, from Russia, China, Japan, etc. Okay. So the two important parts of spoofing are IP spoofing and MAC address spoofing. Now, don't worry what a MAC address is, guys. We haven't discussed about that yet, but we will talk about it in the upcoming sessions. Okay, but today let's go with the concept of IP spoofing. So basically, IP spoofing is a technique in which the attacker sends data packets from falsified or spoofed source address. Okay, and this happens with the help of proxies in order to deceive the recipient or about the target's originating source. Now, if I show you or explain this with a diagram, one second. Just give me 1 minute, guys. Right. Right. So let's assume this is my system here. And let's say if I'm connecting to a website like www.google.com. Now, by default, when I connect to Google, when I open up Google in my browser, this is how the packet travels. It travels from my system to my Wi-Fi router. From my Wi-Fi router, it goes to my ISP, Internet Service Provider. So if I'm using, in India, we have ISPs like Airtel, Act Fibernet, whatnot. Okay. So again, from my device, the packet first comes to router. From the router, it goes to ISP. And from the ISP, it reaches google.com. So when it's going from my ISP, my actual original IP. So if my router is getting the public IP, let's say 1.2.3.4, that exact IP gets logged here. So Google now exactly knows who visited that server, their server at that so and so amount point of time. Okay. So just in case if you perform an attack as well on google.com, they know exactly who performed that attack and where the packet was originating from. So rather than that, what you can do is now you can use proxy servers in between. So all around the world, there are multiple proxy servers. So again, there can be proxy servers in Russia, there can be proxy servers in China, there can be proxy servers in Switzerland. Doesn't matter where they are. Okay, so again, let's say these are the various proxy servers, one in Russia with an IP like 2.3.4.5, for instance. Let's say there's one more here in China with a proxy IP of 3456. And let's say there's one more here in Switzerland. Okay, let's say this has an IP like 5678. Again, random IPs. Okay, now when you use proxy servers in between, this is how your packet is going to travel. From your system, it comes to the router first. From the router, it reaches the ISP. Up to here, you have the same original, your genuine IP itself. But from here on, rather than going to the target website directly, it now jumps to one of the proxies. And when it comes to that proxy, that IP is now assigned to the packet. Okay, so now from here, it can reach the target website, or it can jump to other proxies as well to add one more layer of IP address, one more layer of false information. And then it can jump to one more server, and then it can reach the target here. Okay, now the IP that gets allocated to my device won't be my original ISP's IP, but the last hop IP. So whatever last hop is there, whatever last jump is there for the packet, that IP gets assigned here. And now my packet seems to be coming from Switzerland. Although I'm still located in India, so this IP from my ISP, if it's getting it from India, let's say this is Indian IP. Yet, even though I'm accessing the internet from India, my packet seems to be coming from Switzerland here. It gets shown that way. Okay, so this is the concept of IP spoofing. It's a technique where an attacker sends data packets from a false or spoofed source address with the help of proxies in between in order to deceive the recipient about the originating source. Is that clear, everyone? Charles and Lee. Right. Yeah, there are conditions for that, Charles. Again, they can in some cases and they can't. I'm going to explain where it's possible to trace back and where it's not. So there are certain tricks to not get traced at all. So yeah, I'm going to explain that. Okay. Sure. So let's get into the practical part now, guys. So again, when you want to perform IP spoofing, there are two methods for it. So method, oh, one second. Anyways, so method one is you can do it with the help of something called web-based proxy, or method two, you can do it with something called VPNs. Okay, so now let's talk about these practically. So first method, web-based proxy. Now this is again a possibility where you have websites available on the internet that allow users to access the internet indirectly by routing their traffic through their server, okay, which is typically located in a different location. And this website's server acts as an intermediate proxy between the user device and the websites they want to visit. Now, this still seems a bit gibberish. Let me explain it practically. So again, if you go to your browser, in your browser, you can search now for web-based proxy. And you get tons and tons of links online. So again, if I open up these websites, right now, if I had to check my public IP, what is the procedure for that, guys? Can anyone give me the answer? How do I check my original public IP in my browser? You've been there in the networking sessions. What is the method to check your public IP, guys? Ben, Charles, Wamsi. Any answers, Wamsi? Any answers, Charles? It's a very simple thing, Charles. You just search for what is my IP, right? And when you do that, it shows you your public IP. What's there to revise here in this? But anyways, coming back to this, as mentioned, this is how you check your public IP, guys. And if I click on any of these websites here, you will notice this shows me my exact public IP and it also shows me my location, country, India, region, so and so, and my ISP, Beam Telecom, is what it says. Okay, so this is my original IP that travels with every packet to every website that I initiate a connection to. Okay, now what I can do is, so again, even if I go to google.com, let's say, so if I open up google.com over here in another tab, you can see it shows India here, which means I'm basically accessing Google from India here. Okay. But now, if I copy the same exact URL, and if I now go back to my browser, and if I go to any of these web-based proxies here, one common thing you'll find in all of these web-based proxies is you'll find an input field here where you can enter the URL which you want to visit. So again, whether you take this website, proxium.com, proxysite.com, hideme.com, or plainproxies.com, every single website has an input field as such. Okay. And now when you enter the URL there, and when you click on go, you would observe now this connects to google.com through their proxy in between. So as you can see, they're using a completely different IP here. And now you would notice when I'm connected to Google, I'm connected from a different region altogether. I'm still accessing the same website, but through their proxy. And therefore, I'm getting some other IP from altogether a different location, Polska, probably Poland. And if I search here for what is my IP, you would notice I now get a completely different IP from my original one. This is not my original IP, guys. My original IP was 49, 204, 238, 103. But here you notice I get a completely different IP. in the browser. So this is how, again, so no matter what website I connect to, and I'm connecting to google.com as well right now, this is the IP that is getting logged in Google servers rather than my original IP. So this is a web-based proxy. What you're doing here is you're using websites available on the internet to access the internet indirectly by routing your traffic through their servers, typically located in a different location. So their servers act as an intermediate proxy between my device, the user's device, and the website I want to visit. Okay, so when I'm visiting google.com here, I'm using this website's proxy. And again, therefore, this proxy and website's web proxy, and therefore my IP is changing here. Okay. Similarly, if I enter my URL here, and if I click on go, you will notice this website will give me a completely different IP again. So if I search for what is my IP here, in Google search, you would notice I get a completely different IP again. Again, none of these IPs are my original IPs, guys. Okay, they are again extra layers of other IPs from different regions. Now, these websites can also be used to visit websites which are blocked in your country. For example, so there's this website called 1337x.to. It's a torrent website, usually a website from where I download the cracked applications. But in India, this website is blocked. You cannot access it in India. Therefore, what I can do is I can just copy this URL and I can paste it in any of these web-based proxies. And now when I click on go, you would notice that website is accessible now. I can browse that website because now, as you can notice, my browser is trying to access this website from a proxy server, which is located in Netherlands or some other region. Okay. And again, contains a lot of application torrents, cracked applications. But again, do not download anything as of yet from here, guys, because again, I've not shown you how to check for malwares. So in the upcoming sessions, I'm going to show you how to verify if a tool is safe or not from malwares. And after that, you can understand how to download these. But again, if you notice, there's tons and tons of free applications available online from torrents. And whenever you visit torrent websites, it's illegal in a lot of countries, guys. So you definitely have to use proxies or VPNs to connect safely, or you might face trouble. Okay. So this is something which is very illegal, I would say. Okay. Piracy. Okay. So this is one way, guys. Again, as mentioned, web-based proxies allow users to access the internet indirectly by routing their web traffic through a server, which is typically located in a different region. And we are accessing that different region server through this website. Okay. So that intermediate server acts as a proxy for us between the websites that we want to visit and our device. Okay. And these are some example websites for web-based proxy. But now, if you notice one thing over here, is none of these websites ask for registration. And all of these are free websites, free proxy servers. Now, one thing you have to note on the internet is when any service is free, we are the product there ourselves. Okay, so these websites will definitely capture your information, guys. So whatever websites you're browsing, whatever information you're searching for, they will definitely monitor that. They will definitely log that. And if needed, they will provide it to other third-party vendors as well. Or even if you perform a cyber crime, they can also give your information, if asked, to cybercrime department. Okay, so thereby it's pretty easy to trace out what information you're searching for or what websites you're trying to visit through web-based proxies. They have that information. So just in case if you try to attack Google servers as well, they'll go and ask this website, whom did you provide that IP at so and so time? And they exactly know my exact public IP through which I access the service. So over here, there's a very high chance of you being found or you being traced back very easily. If you do not want to be traced back, you have to use certain types of VPNs. Again, all of you might already know what a VPN is. Stands for Virtual Private Network. Now, this is basically an application you can download on your system, which allows you to connect to a lot of encrypted proxies online. Okay, so VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. The word private there stands where they have their own network of proxies, which are completely private and encrypted over the internet. Okay, and they allow you to create a secure and encrypted tunnel connection over the internet. Okay, so whatever traffic goes through their proxy servers, through the VPN's servers, all of it, that is definitely encrypted, and it definitely masks your IP in a much better way. Okay, but again, in VPNs also there are certain conditions, guys. Okay, so again, if I have to recommend any VPN to use, I would suggest only two VPNs. One is Proton VPN, and the other one is NordVPN. So if you go to your browser and if you search over here, there's two good VPNs. One is Nord and the other one is Proton. Now, I'm not advertising or promoting these in any way. The reason I know that these are the best ones are from my experience itself, because they have something called strict no log policy. So if I go to these VPN services and if I go to their features, now one important feature that you have to look for in any VPN that you download is this one. So if I click on all features, you can see they have one feature called no user tracking. Okay. So basically, these are a no-log VPN. Okay. So when you connect to a VPN service, you shield your internet traffic from ISPs and others. Okay. A no-log VPN does not collect or log your traffic that passes through its servers. Now, there's a government rule, guys, in a lot of US, I mean, United States, and even in European Union, that all of these VPNs should still log the user information for 90 days. Okay. And they have to comply with those VPNs if their servers are in that country. Okay. But no-log VPNs operate out of such jurisdictions. So in countries where there are no such rules and regulations or data retention laws, these are the places where from these VPNs work from. Okay, countries like Russia, countries like Switzerland, Panama. Okay, all these countries have no such data retention laws, and these no-log VPNs work from those places. So doing again, as mentioned, a no-log VPN does not collect information or traffic that passes through its servers. Doing so is trickier than it may seem, since many countries force services to store data for at least some time. To protect your online privacy, reliable no-log VPNs typically operate out of jurisdictions, out of such jurisdictions without data retention laws. So in countries where these laws are not applicable, that is where a no-log VPN works from, thereby protecting your information in a much better way without tracking it in the first place. Okay. All the other VPNs will still store your information for 90 days, guys. And if you perform any cybercrime activity, they are again responsible to give that information out to the cybercrime department. Okay. So, but these VPNs, they operate out of such jurisdictions, they don't store your information. So even if someone goes and asks them whom did you provide that IP to? They would just say, we don't have that information because we don't store it ourselves. Okay. So that is what a no log VPN is. So in such cases, it's quite tough to trace the person back. Okay. In VPNs where they're logging information on web-based VPNs, it's pretty easy to trace back. But in no-log VPNs, and only in this one case, it's quite tough to trace the person back. Is that clear, Charles? I think this was the question you asked. Can we trace them back? So this is the right. Again, as mentioned, if you use a VPN, they will start logging your information from there for 90 days. So whatever information you use or whatever information you enter in a browser through a VPN, if it is a VPN which logs information, it will store your information for 90 days. After 90 days, it will delete your information. It doesn't store it after that. So again, as mentioned, if you're performing an attack and if it is a VPN which logs your information, you still might be get caught within the first 90 days itself. So it's always that's why hackers always go for no log VPNs. We don't log information for any amount of time. It's automatically erased spontaneously. Right. So again, as mentioned, these are some VPNs, guys. NordVPN, and there's one more called Proton VPN, and you can download them for free as well. But again, in the free version, you don't get good bandwidth. So in the pro version, you get much better speeds and much better connectivity with servers. Okay, in the free version, you won't get those many servers to connect on. You won't get good bandwidth. Okay, so again, these are not that expensive either. So if you click on pricing, it's around €5 or something, if I remember correctly. The other, yeah, 4.49 euros. Okay. And that's around, I would say, 4.5 euros. In Indian currency, I think it's around 450 rupees or 400 rupees or something. Cheaper than Netflix here. Yeah, 405 rupees. Okay. So, but again, if you don't want to go for the paid version, as mentioned, there's the free version as well. So you can scroll down here, click on Get Proton Free. You just need to continue with free and you can log in. You can create your user account here. You can log in with your Gmail account and download the Proton VPN for free. Okay, so you just need to create an account here and then it downloads the application for you. And once downloaded and installed, this is what it would look like. So I have Proton on my system already. So if I just open it up, let me show you how this works. This is what the Proton VPN looks like, guys. And as soon as I click on quick connect here, right now this is my original IP. I'm not protected because I'm not using the VPN yet. But if I click on this button, it will automatically connect me to one of their servers. And again, please note, as soon as I connect to the VPN, we might lose our connection for a bit, but don't worry, we're going to automatically reconnect back to the meeting as well. Okay. So right now, if I go to my browser and if I search for what is my IP, this would still show me my original IP. Oh, let me refresh this page. Yeah, so this is my original IP, 49.204.238.103 from India. But if I connect to a VPN now, and if I check it again, my IP should change. So if I click on quick connect, again, we might lose our connection for a minute. Don't worry. We'll automatically reconnect back as well. Okay. Uh, okay. Can you hear me, guys? Charles, Benji, Vamsi. Am I audible? I think we should. Perfect. I think we should have reconnected by now. And if I go back to my browser now, and if I refresh this page, this was my original IP earlier, but if I refresh it, you will notice that IP changes now. Yeah. And I get it from a completely random location. It says country Canada. Okay. So even that information is being falsified. Although I'm connected to Japan here, if you notice, it says I'm connected on a Japan server with 138, 199, 21, 210. Over here, it still falsifies that information and says I'm from Canada. Okay. And it doesn't even give me the IP, my original IP. It gives me a fake IP here. So this is what a VPN does. Okay. So if I go to another tab and if I search for what is my IP, that's the same IP that shows up in Google as well, if you notice. Okay. So this is how you can spoof your IP with a VPN application. And you can click on change server and that will refresh or give you a new IP altogether from a different region. So it automatically connects you to multiple different servers from time to time and keeps your IP address or your identity safe over the internet. So this is how you spoof your IP, guys. Now there's one more concept called spoofing of MAC addresses, and we'll talk about MAC addresses in the next session, guys. So taking a slightly shorter session today. One student is missing today, and I'm a bit sick as well. I have a terrible migraine. So yeah, let's conclude the session here, guys. We'll be connecting back tomorrow to learn about spoofing of MAC addresses. Any questions, any doubts up to this point? Benji, Charles, Wamsi. Charles, any questions on your? Sure. I'll be sharing this document shortly with all of you guys. So you can practice the same thing on your end as well. Vamsi, any questions on your? Hello? Yeah. 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 The VPN I'm using is a free one, Charles. That's not the paid one. Because in the paid one, I will get the option to connect to any of these servers here. But if you notice, I don't have the option because I'm going for a free one right now. But if you go for a paid one, you get all. Yes. In the paid one, you have the option to choose the country and it gives you much better bandwidth. Okay, the speeds are much better. So in the paid one. In the free one, since many people use it, it might be a bit slow, as you can see. I'm not getting that good of a download speed at the moment. Okay. So that's the main difference, guys. Any other questions, Charles? Mhm. Mm, there should be an option. If I go to the website, click on Get Proton VPN now. You see there's an option here, Get Proton VPN free. Proton free. Is this not shown for you? Or you can do one thing. You can just search for Proton VPN free as well directly. Maybe that should also give you an alternative page. Yeah, this is directly going to give you Proton VPN free. That's perfect. Right. Sure. So yeah, that's that, guys. Nothing further for our session today. Let's connect back tomorrow and talk about Mac spoofing instead. Sure. Bye. Good day. See you tomorrow at the same time. Thank you, Charles. Bye bye. Okay. Um,